What's a company's secret you can now share since you don't work there anymore? It's probably not much of a secret, but the average markup on a pair of prescription eyeglasses is 250 to 300%. Then why does the store always smell like the cheapest detergent that exists on Earth? We used to import illegal stuff in the country. Just mark the boxes with stickers. We hid alcohol in the back and sold it to friends for $35 instead of $200. Nestle owns Petfinder, probably the biggest pet search site in the US. Which is why if you don't have an ad blocker, the only ads you see are for Purina products. When I was at Stellantis, there were software changes pushed to production with maybe hours of validation in a vehicle. My HR department was actively recruiting people who are good at using AI to write meaningless claptrap and act as influencers, rather than people who could communicate in a personal, professional manner using their own voice and engage in two-way conversations. Most ad campaigns posters on walls of company about diversity, sustainability are just that, all PR. You should look into the number of people at your school's district office who are just acting as middlemen. When I worked as a department secretary, I reported to a team lead who reported to our boss, who had a boss, who had a chief, who reported to the secretary of the assistant superintendent, who reported to the assistant superintendent, who reported to the superintendent, who reported to the school board. These people are all flagrantly spending buttloads of money on snacks and lunches and coffee on a daily basis. The only food I ever received as a classroom employee was stale Costco pizza, if we had had a do-level administrator in the office. An email would then be sent to the entire building that there was leftover pizza in the teacher's lounge. My team's boss had a secretary that was so fiscally irresponsible, she spent thousands of dollars on 4 boxes of envelopes nobody could use because she put the wrong address on them. This woman was earning at least $80,000 a year, and every single day would expense a $40 box of cookies to put on her desk to offer guests, and nobody would eat them. Granted, our budgets were high due to high incomes of the population and taxes, but if your local school district is thinking of cutting budgets, join a committee to suss out the real waste, as it is always at the district administration level. LCD manufacturing. Every display has at least one pixel out. The pixels around it adjust to hide it. We had different pricing for customers that we felt like going to barging. All of the billing for my local power company goes through a Windows 98 machine hooked into a 28K modem. They supply power to a city with over 5 million people. To become a billionaire, you have to create a disgusting amount of millionaires along the way. Dave flushed Quikrete down the sinks, Unirolls, and toilets the day he quit. Home improvement store. Last time I shared one, my Reddit got banned. I shared it in the subreddit of the company LOL. A compressor spool without paperwork. The current scrapyard rate for the metal. It makes sense. Logistics is hard, and if you try to just bootstrap a priority system onto a FIFO system, it ends up causing delays. Better to build in tolerance so you can deliver when quoted 9% of the time. And just personally, I'd rather get a package on time than early. I need to plan around when the package arrives. E-cigs are not good for you, but maybe not as bad as cigarettes. I don't care either way. As someone who worked at multiple pizza places, that's not normal, and Dawn works better. The markup on aviation parts is freaking huge. A nut that cost us the manufacturer $0. $50. Charge the customer $10. A compressor spool that cost us $50,000. Charge the customer $1 million. I worked on Wall Street years ago. Private trading firm. Drugs and alcohol are not allowed in the office. The hard liquor was in the locked soda machine. At the pizza places I worked as a teenager, the sausage was raw before the pizza was cooked. That means it was all slimy with fats from the meat it's made of. Anyway, that's not the gross part. The gross part is that to cut that grease off your hands so you can stay and make more pizza is to dip your hand in the pineapple. This is because pineapple juice is acidic and will cut through grease, fat, whatever. Now on the surface, cross-contamination is bad in itself, but then take into consideration how often the toppings are replaced. The sausage would get replaced if it smelled off. The pineapple would turn into a meaty soup and still smell like pineapple. Some people would just put more pineapple in when restocking so the juice stayed quite a while. Eventually it would start bubbling and form a bit of froth from too many sausage proteins being broken down. You'd see little chunks of sausage floating sometimes. The management would be upset if you wasted product, so you get reamed if you threw it out without approval. A little same with the dough. It was touted as fresh every day. What wasn't said is that the sum of the dough is recycled. Any leftover dough from the day before was re-rolled and mixed into that day's batch of dough. More leftover dough, you don't add as much fresh in the mix. So technically it's always kind of fresh, but it's possible if you got really bad luck to its re-rolled weeks-old dough. TLDR, pineapple on pizza might be risky.